Hey there, some time ago, a company called Jowoom introduced this product through a couple of YouTube channels, including Daniel Hulbert's Circuit and Strings website and his blog. And it's a automatic tuner for ukuleles and guitars. And I was really interested in it because I had found these from my friend Paul Marchese's website where he introduced these for use in school. And these have been pretty wonderful. This is the Roadie 2, and we'll talk more about this later because I want to compare it. But the Jowoom Smart Winder does a very similar function. And after some months of interaction back and forth, they're, I believe, finally in production, and the company sold me one, actually sold me two at a discounted rate. So I need to let you know that as this video is made, is that I did get a discount. One of these will stay with me and one of these will go to our school. So just want to let you know. And anyway, so when you open the box, one was shrink wrapped, the other was open like this. You get a foam packed tuner along with an extra adapter on it if you need it. But then you get the tuner, and then a little bit further in you get a standard USB cable. And basically how this thing works is you turn it on. So there's an on-off button right over here. And when you turn it on, it goes to an auto-tune mode. And if you hold the power button, when you do that, it switches between, there you go, you can get a chromatic tuner, guitar, or ukulele. And I'm going to be tuning ukuleles. It also has an up and down feature. So this thing can actually also replace a string winder, which is another $30 tool that I have. So that's kind of nice. There's also an S button so that when you're in the what's not called the auto mode, but the semi-automatic mode, you can change which string you're tuning. And also, if you press this one in the semi-automatic mode on the G string, it will go to a low G if you have that on a ukulele, like a lot of tenors do, although some concerts and sopranos do too. So let me show you how this works. It's in the full auto mode, which I think is how most people want to use it all the time. You put the head on your tuning peg, and you notice I've got two other tuners on there right now, and we'll talk about why in a second. But you put that on, pluck the string, and when it beeps, it's ready to go, and you go to the next one. And to the next one. And the final one. And now this should be in tune. Now let's take a look at that. I've got these extra tuners. I'll make sure they're both on. I've got both a reverb tuner and a very highly sensitive D'Addario. And let's just tune these. So next one. So you can kind of see what that's showing. Now, there is a semi-automatic mode where you can just switch which string you want to do it. You can also change it to tune a guitar, which is what you'd have to do if you have a baritone ukulele. Now, what this doesn't have that the Roadie does is the Roadie has completely customizable tuning. So I have an 8-string tenor ukulele that has a low G, a high G, a low C, a normal standard C, a C an octave above that, and then two courses of E's and A's that are the same. Unfortunately, I can't use the smart winder for that instrument. However, I can use the Roadie. Now, just really quickly before I put the Roadie through its paces too, in comparison, I like the weight. The smart winder has a much heavier weight. I like the up and down feature to replace just the standard string winder, which would be another $30 expense generally because it's rechargeable. I like the size of the Rode. I like the customizable tunings of the Rode. The Rode also has a non-standard charging port. It has a standard micro USB that you would see with most electronics. So each one has some benefits, but the big difference is price. Right now, this one is listed on the Jowoom website, and I'll list a link for that for $79. The Rode, its normal price is $129, although on Father's Day they were selling them, the Rode 2, for $99. The other problem I've had with the Rodes, and this one is one of them too, is the Rode uses a button for input on the back, and this button also is stopping to press very well. They replaced two of these because we bought two for our school, and when you have that many ukuleles and you're tuning them, it's like a no-brainer because you can tune without thinking about it. You can be having a conversation with another student, or you can be walking around the room with a ukulele and give a ukulele to a student that they can use while you tune theirs and then swap. There's all these wonderful things you can do when you're not relying on a tuner at one time. These things are lifesavers. So again, you might say, why would I want one of these things or spend that much on a tuner? And realistically, there are some strobe tuners that are selling for not much more. So here's the Rode 2. And with the Rode 2, you can put in multiple tunings. So I've got tenor ukulele with a low G. I've got 8-string in there. I've got regular ukulele. So I am going to mess this ukulele up. So I'm going to do exactly what I did the last time. I'll bring that one down, this one up, this one down. Wonderful in-tune ukulele, which it isn't right now. And I'm going to take the Rode. What you do is you select the tuning that you want, and that's another step that you don't have to do on the auto-tune feature. So it says G4, so I just follow the same order. Then the next one, and the next one. Now, let's see how that looks in comparison with our two tuners in the headstock. Going across. And just off the top of my head, those look very, very similar in their results. Now, I will say that I have not put my Rode into the mode. There is a mode you can put the Rode into that always tunes up. So even if your string is too high, it'll bring you below and then up again. I don't have the Rode tuned into that. There are people that are huge proponents that you only always tune up once you're actually into fine tuning. I'm not going to get into that debate. I'm just going to get instruments in tune as quick as I can. Now, the other interesting thing to do is to take, once it's been tuned by one device, to tweak the other device and see if it changes things. So let's do that. By the way, it says immediately it's in tune. Next one. Next one. So the Smart Tuner agrees completely with the Rode. Now, I'm going to do that same. Tuning again with the Smart Winder. And by the way, as I tune, I don't know if you can see that, it shows me a percentage off, and it moves down as you tune. I'm not going to be able to show you that from this other angle. And finally, that one sounds a little off. I want to double check that one more time. Okay, now let's check it with the Rode. Now, the Rode will do that on occasion, take you way higher than you're supposed to be. Let's see if it'll take us down. And then Rode says it's... Let's try that again now. Have you noticed, by the way, it's blue when it's out of tune and green when it's back in tune again. And so realistically, the Rode 2 turns much faster. Seems to take a little bit longer to recognize whether it's on pitch or not than the Smart Tuner. But it does seem to turn faster, whereas the Jowoom is very jerky and it doesn't want to overtune too quickly. Now, what are the pluses and minuses of both? I think we've talked about them already. Heavier, lighter. Now this one you can put into a string changing mode, but there's buttons to click and everything else. So I would give this one the nod. If you're looking for a powered string winder and a tuner, this is probably the way to go. If you want to choose customized tuning, this is the way to go. If you want just to be able to use a standard micro USB cord, this is the way to go. If you want size and compactness, this one is lighter and it is more compact. If you want the more detailed display, this one, the Smart Winder, is going to do it. If you want to go with, now again, I haven't had this one long enough to see any errors, but this one will occasionally just go crazy and take a string way up high, and you have to, just pull it off and let it unspin, and sometimes take the tuning peg back down. So this one at the moment doesn't do that. If something changes, I'll try to, I don't know, maybe update the post on the blog or whatever. And again, this is customizable through an app, Android or iPhone, whereas this does not link up to an Android or iPhone. So you can keep a number of tunings, and one of the things that the Rode people would like you to do is actually have a tuning for each instrument. Now, if you're a school and you've got 60 of the same instrument, I don't know why you would do that, but individually you could keep a tuning for this ukulele, that ukulele, this guitar, that guitar, and you could keep them all separate and named separately on this and use the iPhone app in conjunction with it. So two mindless tuners, just smart tuners, I think is the best way to call it. Smart Winder and the Rode 2. This one about $80. This one generally about $130. That might be the choice. Also, I like the battery display here, although there is a little battery display on the top of the Rode 2 as well. I don't think you can go wrong as a teacher with either of these. I might even encourage you to buy one of both. Not only so you find which ones that you like, but so that if one goes, you got the other as a backup. So, Jowoom Smart Winder, Rode 2.